Today, we are diving deep into the top 3 most wanted, most highly sought, and most jaw-droppingly valuable Lincoln Memorial pennies from those 3 years, and by the end of this video, you are going to want to go raid every coin jar in your house. Let's start with the 1975 Lincoln penny, and before you say, that's just a regular penny, listen to this. The most valuable 19 penny with no mint mark was graded MS68RD by PC and sold for $9,000 at auction in 2018. But it gets even crazier. There exists a PR70 proof penny from 1975 that commands an estimated value of $15,000. And only one such coin has ever been graded by PCGS and NGC combined. That's right, there is one perfect 1975 penny on the entire planet. Could it be sitting in a box somewhere, waiting for someone like you to find it? And what about errors? A fold-over strike error on a penny graded MS65 sold for $1,495 at auction. Struck on a dime, planchette errors have sold for over $900. And a rare mated pair error penny fetched nearly $750 at heritage auctions. These aren't fairy tales, these are real auction results. A double-struck 1975 penny with both impressions fully visible sold for $1,340 in MS64 condition at Legend Rare Coin Auctions in 2023. Now, let's talk about the 1976 Lincoln penny, America's bicentennial year penny, and the secret value hiding inside it. The record for the most valuable 1976 penny with no mint mark goes to a specimen graded MS68RD by PCGS, which sold for a whopping $7,931.25 at a 2014 auction. That's nearly $8 for a coin you could have found in your pocket change in the 1970s. Meanwhile, the finest 1976 S-proof penny graded PR69 DCAM scored a record price of $1,208. And for double die varieties on 1976 pennies, minor ones can bring anywhere from $25 to $100. Easy money if you know what to look for with a magnifier. And now, the absolute wildcard of the 3, the 1979 Lincoln penny, and specifically the legendary Type 1 versus Type 2S. Mint mark mystery that has coin collectors going absolutely crazy. The San Francisco Mint produced 2 distinct varieties of the 1979 S-proof penny, one with a blobby, nearly unreadable filled S mint, and later in the year, a retooled clear S that is far scarcer and far more sought after by serious collectors. Now here's where the money gets wild. The rarest 1979 cent in terms of value is the 1979 S-type I filled S in PR70 DCAM grade, with only 62 examples certified by PC and an auction record of $10,925. And if you were lucky enough to find a 1979 penny struck on a dime planchette by mistake, those authenticated, wrong planchette errors have sold for $3,000 to $7,000 at major auctions. In this video, we're going to show you exactly what to look for, the mint, the error types, the grades, and the real auction prices so you can be the one to find that coin. Stay with me. Let's go. Welcome, treasure hunters, coin fanatics, and everyday heroes who just found a penny on the ground and wondered, wait, could this be worth a fortune? Because today we are diving deep into one of the most underrated, jaw-dropping, and downright explosive coins in American numismatic history. The 1975 Lincoln Memorial Cent, a tiny 1-cent piece that looks completely ordinary on the surface but is hiding mind-blowing secrets, staggering auction values, and earth-shattering errors that have sent collectors into an absolute frenzy. And if you are sitting on a jar of old pennies right now, I am begging you, do not turn this video off, because you could literally be holding hundreds or even thousands of dollars in the palm of your hand without even knowing it. Let's start with the history, because understanding where this coin comes from is what makes it so absolutely electrifying. The 1975 Lincoln penny was struck during a legendary era of American coinage, produced at 3 iconic minting facilities, the Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint, and the now legendary San Francisco Mint, each one stamping out millions upon millions of coins as the United States economy was roaring through the post-Vietnam, post-Watergate era, a time when America was rebuilding its identity and its coinage was quietly undergoing changes that would make certain pennies from this exact year worth insane amounts of money to future collectors. And here is where it gets shocking. While billions of 1975 pennies were minted for general circulation, only a tiny, almost impossible handful were struck in proof and special formats that today are considered the holy grail of small cent collecting. And none, I mean none, is more legendary, more breathtaking, or more controversial than the 1975 Nose Lincoln proof cent, a coin so rare, so astonishing, and so brutally difficult to find that experts believe only a couple of these proof coins exist without the S mint mark from San Francisco, making them arguably one of the rarest and most valuable modern coins ever produced by the United States Mint. Coins that have sold at auction for figures that will make your head spin. we're talking well over $100,000 and climbing. For a single penny, 1 cent, a coin that most people would toss into a fountain without a second thought. And that right there, my friends, is what makes coin collecting the most thrilling treasure hunt in the entire world. Now let's talk about mint marks, because this is where the real detective work begins. The 1975 Lincoln penny came from Philadelphia with no mint mark at all, which was standard practice at the time for circulating coins from Philly, while Denver minted examples proudly bear a small but mighty D-mint mark just below the date on the obverse, and San Francisco produced proof sets carrying the prestigious S-mint mark. But here is where your heart should start racing, because the entire world of 1975 penny collecting is turned upside down by the discovery of proof coins that were accidentally struck. Without the San Francisco S-mint mark, an unbelievable quality control blunder that slipped through the entire United States Mint's inspection process, escaped into the hands of collectors and proof sets, and was only discovered after the fact, sending shockwaves through the numismatic community and instantly transforming a handful of ordinary-looking proof pennies into some of the most sought-after coins on planet Earth. And the reason this error is so catastrophically rare and valuable is because proof coins are made with painstaking precision, mirror-like dies, polished planchettes, and extreme quality control, meaning the idea that a mint mark could simply be missing from a proof coin is not just unusual, it is astounding, almost unthinkable, and yet it happened. And the lucky few who discovered these coins and their proof sets became overnight legends in the collecting world. But the 1975 No S proof is just the beginning of the madness, because there's a whole universe of other varieties, errors, and condition rarities that make the 1975 Lincoln penny a coin worth studying with a magnifying glass and a pounding heart. Take for example doubled die varieties, where the coin's design elements were struck with dies that had slight misalignments or hub doubling, creating ghostly, dramatic doubling effects on Lincoln's portrait, the date, the motto, "In God We Trust," or the lettering on the reverse. And even minor double die varieties on circulated 1975 pennies can be worth from $25 to several $100s, depending on the severity of the doubling and the condition of the coin, with the most dramatic, eye-popping double die examples in mint state condition, potentially fetching thousands at the right auction. Imagine finding one of those in your pocket change, because it has happened before, and it will happen again. Then, there are repunched mint marks on the 1975D coins, where the mint mark was punched into the die more than once at slightly different angles, creating a layered, dramatically D that stands out under magnification and tells the story of human hands working furiously in a mint facility decades ago. These varieties, cataloged by experts in resources like the Cherry Picker's Guide, are actively hunted by dedicated variety collectors who will pay serious money for examples in high grades. And the thrill of finding one comes not from luck but from knowledge, from knowing exactly what to look for and where to look, which is why every single second you spend watching and learning about coins like this is literally an investment in your future treasure hunting success. Now let's talk about condition, because this is a factor that can take a 1975 Lincoln penny from being worth 1 cent, literally face value, to being worth hundreds of times more. And the grading scale used by professional services like PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, and NGC Numismatic Guarantee Company, runs from 1 to 70. With MS-70 being a theoretically perfect, absolutely flawless, mint state coin. A circulated 1975 penny in average condition might be worth a cent or two, but a 1975P or 1975D Lincoln cent graded MS-65 red, meaning it still blazes with its original brilliant copper luster, can be worth $5 to $20. An MS-67 red example can fetch $50 to $150 or more, and an MS-68 red, which is extraordinarily rare for a coin of this era, could absolutely stun the room at auction. And when you get into the proof coins, a standard 1975S proof penny in PR69 Deep Cameo, that gorgeous mirror frosted design finish that makes these coins look like miniature sculptures, can sell for $10 to $50. While a perfect PR70 Deep Cameo example might command $100 to $500, depending on the service that graded it and the appetite of collectors at the time of sale. All of which proves that condition is everything, and that a penny is never just a penny when you know what you're looking at. Let's also talk about the copper composition of the 1975 Lincoln cent, because this is something that most people completely overlook, but that serious collectors find absolutely fascinating. By 1975, the Lincoln penny was still being struck in 95% copper and 5% zinc, the traditional composition that had been used for decades. And this is critically important because just a few years later, in 1982, the United States Mint made a dramatic switch to a zinc core with only a thin copper plating, fundamentally changing the nature of the penny forever. This means that 1975 pennies are among the last generation of true heavily copper-based Lincoln cents. genuine pieces of American industrial and monetary history made from a metal that was already becoming increasingly expensive and would soon be phased out of the coin's core composition entirely. And today, the melt value of a pre-1982 copper penny is actually more than 1 cent, hovering around 2 to 3 cents depending on the copper market, which creates the surreal and incredible situation where a common 1975 penny in circulation is worth more than its face value in raw metal alone. And for collectors who focus on original red copper surfaces, finding a 1975 penny with full, blazing, original red designation rather than the less desirable red-brown or brown toning is like finding a tiny, gleaming, copper masterpiece that has somehow survived 50 years of potential disaster. Now let's bring it all together and talk about auctions and market values, because this is the part where jaws drop and eyes go wide at the very top of the pyramid. The 1975 Nose Lincoln Proof cent, when one surfaces and is authenticated and graded by a top-tier service, is an event in the numismatic world, a coin that attracts national attention, serious bidding wars, and final hammer prices that remind everyone watching that coins are not just currency, they are art, they are history, and they are investment vehicles of breathtaking potential. Below that rarefied tier, high-grade business strike examples in MS67 red and above have brought strong prices at heritage auctions, stacks, bowers, and great collections, especially as the series of Lincoln Memorial cents from the 1960s and 70s continues to attract a new generation of collectors who grew up with these coins and are now in their peak, earning years and hungry to assemble world-class sets, driving prices upward in ways that veteran dealers say they have not seen before. And the lesson here, the critical, life-changing lesson, is that you should never throw away, roll up and deposit, or ignore old pennies from the 1970s without at least giving them a quick look. Because the story of coins is always the same. The people who pay attention win, the people who look closely win, and the people who learn, people exactly like you, who are watching this video right now, are the ones who one day crack open a jar of old change, pull out a gleaming 1975 penny. The 1976 Lincoln penny might look like an ordinary 1-cent coin hiding in pocket change, forgotten jars, dusty drawers, and old piggy banks across America. But collectors know a thrilling secret: some of these tiny copper treasures can be worth far more than face value, and certain rare examples have shocked the coin world with surprising prices, fierce bidding wars, and hidden varieties that everyday people overlook every single day, making the 1976 Lincoln cent one of the most fascinating modern coins to search for, because while millions were made during America's bicentennial celebration year, not every coin survived in equal condition, not every strike came out perfect, and not every penny is as common as it seems. So today, we dive deep into the electrifying history, hidden rarity, collector demand, mint marks, valuable errors, top auction records, and the jaw-dropping secrets that could turn one humble 1976 penny into a collector's prize. First, let's travel back to 1976, a year filled with patriotic excitement as the United States celebrated 200 years since the Declaration of Independence, with special bicentennial quarters, half dollars, and dollars filling circulation. But the Lincoln cent continued its steady run with the beloved portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner, first introduced in 1909, while the reverse still featured the classic wheat-free Lincoln Memorial design created by Frank Gasparo in 1959, meaning the 1976 cent carried a familiar design during a historic national year. And because billions of cents were needed for commerce, the U.S. Mint struck enormous numbers at Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, creating a coin so common in quantity that many people assume it can never be valuable. Yet that assumption is exactly why hidden gems still escape detection. The 1976 Lincoln cent was struck in a bronze alloy, composed mostly of copper with small percentages of zinc and tin, weighing approximately 3.11 grams, unlike later copper-plated zinc cents introduced in 1982, and this heavier bronze composition alone gives these coins a special feel and appeal to collectors who prefer the classic precinct cents, because they contain substantially more copper than modern pennies and represent the final era of traditional U.S. bronze cents. Mintages were massive, with Philadelphia producing well over 4 billion coins, Denver striking over 4.2 billion, and San Francisco producing proof coins for collectors, which means raw circulated examples are extremely common and generally worth only face value or a small premium. But condition changes everything, because once a common coin survives with blazing original red luster, razor-sharp strike detail, and nowhere, it enters an entirely different world where registry collectors compete fiercely for top certified grades. One of the first key factors in determining value is mint mark, because 1976 pennies were struck at Philadelphia with no mint mark, Denver with a small d under the date, and San Francisco with an S for proofs. And while none of these are rare in normal grades, certain top condition coins from each mint can be worth dramatically more than pocket change. Philadelphia coins are plentiful, but many entered circulation immediately, meaning fully red, uncirculated survivors with pristine surfaces become scarcer in elite grades such as MS66, MS67, and above, where third-party grading services like PCGS and NGC authenticate and assign numerical grades. And once a coin reaches these lofty levels, prices can leap from cents to hundreds or even thousands depending on population rarity. Denver issues are similarly common, but some specialists note that locating sharply struck examples with clean surfaces can still be challenging in top grades because bag marks, carbon spots, and dull surfaces eliminate countless coins from premium status, while San Francisco proofs, struck with specially polished dies and planches, can be dazzling collector pieces, especially cameo and deep cameo examples with frosted devices and mirror fields. Imagine discovering a pristine 1976S proof sent in original government packaging that grades PEH 69 deep cameo. Suddenly, that tiny cent becomes a respected collectible. Now, let's talk about the explosive force that truly ignites value: condition, rarity. Because millions of coins exist, yet only a microscopic number survive in elite gem grades. And registry set competitors often pay astonishing sums for the finest known examples simply to own the best of the best, transforming a 1-cent coin into a trophy. Auction history has shown high-grade Lincoln cents from common dates, repeatedly selling for surprising amounts because condition rarity overpowers mintage statistics, meaning a 1976 penny-graded MS67, red or better, can command strong premiums far above ordinary circulated pieces, especially if population numbers are low and demand is active. Color designation is another critical factor many beginners miss, as copper coins are classified brown, red-brown, or red depending on remaining mint luster and original color, with full red examples typically commanding the strongest prices, because bright original surfaces signal freshness and eye appeal, while brown coins, though collectible, are generally more affordable unless they possess rare errors or extraordinary grades. A worn brown 1976 cent might be worth 1 cent, but a blazing red gem with immaculate surfaces can enter a completely different value bracket. Next comes the thrilling universe of mint, errors, and varieties, where ordinary coins become extraordinary due to mistakes during production, and this is where treasure hunters become obsessed, checking rolls, jars, estate lots, and circulation finds for hidden riches. One valuable category is doubled dies, caused when the die receives misaligned impressions during hubbing, resulting in visible doubling on letters, numbers, or design elements. And although the 1976 cent does not have a legendary doubled die on the level of the 1955 C or 1972, there are minor doubled die varieties that specialists seek, especially noticeable on Liberty, In God We Trust, or the date under magnification. These can carry premiums depending on strength and attribution. Repunched mint marks are another collectible category for earlier decades, though less common in this era as minting methods evolved, yet subtle mint mark anomalies can still attract variety hunters. Off-center strikes are always popular because part of the design is missing while the date remains visible, and a dramatic 10%, 20%, or even 50% off-center 1976 penny with a clear date can sell for strong premiums depending on eye appeal. Broad strikes occur when the collar fails and the coin expands outward without a raised rim, creating an odd, oversized appearance that collectors love. Clipped planchets, where a blank is improperly cut from the metal strip leaving curved missing sections, can make a 1976 cent far more valuable than normal. Die cracks and cut errors, where portions of the die break away, create raised lines or blobs on the finished coin and can range from minor curiosities to highly collectible dramatic pieces. Struck-through errors happen when grease, debris, or foreign material comes between die and planchette, causing missing details or unusual textures, and some dramatic examples command impressive prices. Another fascinating possibility is wrong planchette strikes, where a cent design is struck on metal intended for another denomination or foreign coin blank, producing off-metal rarities that can bring huge auction results if authenticated. While such pieces are rare, they are exactly the type of hidden jackpot collectors dream about. Speaking of authentication, one of the smartest moves any owner can make with a suspiciously unusual or high-grade 1976 penny is to submit it to a reputable grading service, because professional authentication protects against counterfeits, confirms errors, and often unlocks maximum market value. Many people clean coins hoping to make them shiny, but this can be a devastating mistake, as cleaning leaves hair, altered surfaces, and reduced desirability. SO experts strongly advise leaving coins in original condition. Never polish your penny if you think it might be valuable. Now let's examine realistic value ranges, because hype without facts misleads collectors. A heavily circulated 1976 or 1976 penny is generally worth face value, though copper bullion enthusiasts sometimes save pre-1982 cents in bulk. Lightly circulated attractive examples may bring a few cents. Common uncirculated rolls can sell for modest premiums. Certified gem red examples in MS65 to MS66 may bring from tens to low hundreds depending on market timing. Superb MS67 red coins can bring hundreds or more, and finest known contenders with exceptional eye appeal may reach astonishing levels in major auctions when registry pressure intensifies. Proof 1976S cents are common in original sets, but high-grade cameo or deep cameo certified examples can still sell for premiums, especially near-perfect PR69 or PR70 levels where available. Auction psychology plays a huge role here, because two determined bidders chasing top population coins can send prices soaring beyond guide values, creating headlines that inspire new treasure hunts. Collectors love stories, and the story of finding a common-date penny worth serious money is irresistible. Another overlooked factor is strike quality. Since not all 1976 cents were struck equally, with some showing mushy Lincoln hair details or weak memorial columns, while others display crisp, sharp features, and advanced collectors gladly pay more for well-struck examples, especially combined with vibrant red color and clean surfaces. Storage also matters enormously, because copper reacts with moisture, oils, and air, developing spots or dulling over time. The 1979 Lincoln penny might look like an ordinary 1-cent coin hiding in pocket change, forgotten jars, dusty drawers, and old family collections. But what if I told you this small copper-colored coin could hold surprising secrets, hidden varieties, dramatic auction prices, and collector demand that turns a simple cent into a treasure hunter's dream? Because the 1979 Lincoln penny stands as one of the most fascinating modern-era coins from the United States Mint, created during a time of inflation, changing metal values, and growing coin-collecting excitement across America. And while millions were produced, certain examples with blazing red surfaces, pristine grades, rare mint errors, and unusual strikes have sold for astonishing premiums that leave everyday people shocked when they discover what they had all along. So today, we dive deep into the history, value, rarity, auctions, collector demand, mint marks, hidden errors, varieties, and the real truth about how rare the 1979 Lincoln penny can actually be. And if you have one in your collection, after hearing this, you may never look at pennies the same way again. Because the story begins with the iconic Lincoln cent design first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of the birth of President Abraham Lincoln. Designed by Victor David Brenner and becoming the first regular circulating United States coin to feature a real historical figure, instead of symbolic imagery, making it revolutionary in American coinage history. And by 1979, the Lincoln cent had already been in circulation for 70 years, carrying with it decades of history, wartime changes, metal shortages, economic shifts, and generations of Americans who handled these coins daily without imagining future collectors would one day examine them under magnification for tiny details worth real money. The obverse of the 1979 Lincoln penny features the familiar right-facing bust of Abraham Lincoln with the word Liberty to the left, the date 1979 to the right, and In God We Trust above, while the reverse still displayed the classic wheat replacement design introduced in 1959, featuring the Lincoln Memorial, making this era especially beloved because it combines the classic portrait with one of America's most recognizable monuments. And for many collectors, memorial reverse pennies have become nostalgic reminders of childhood coin hunts and bankroll searching adventures. Now let us talk mintage, because this is where many people assume rarity is determined, but numbers tell only part of the story. In 1979, the Philadelphia Mint struck more than 6 billion Lincoln cents with no mint mark, while the Denver Mint produced over 4 billion with the D mint mark, and the San Francisco Mint created proof coins for collectors bearing the S mint mark, polished and specially struck for annual proof sets, meaning overall production was massive. And because of those giant mintages, most circulated 1979 pennies remain common and worth only face value or a few cents. But here's where excitement begins, because condition, color, strike quality, and errors can transform common coins into highly sought prizes. Collectors grade Lincoln cents based on wear and preservation, with circulated grades such as good, fine, and extremely fine showing varying levels of detail loss, while mint state coins are uncirculated and graded from MS60 to the elite MS70 range. And when a 1979 penny survives decades with full original luster, sharp details, no damage, and blazing red surfaces, it becomes far scarcer than mintage numbers suggest. Since billions entered circulation, but very few stayed perfect, especially after years in jars, vending machines, sidewalks, and cash registers. And that is why certified high-grade examples can command serious money at auction, with ordinary worn 1979 Philadelphia pennies often worth 1 cent to 5 cents. Nicer uncirculated brown or red-brown examples bringing modest premiums, but gem-red examples in MS66, MS67, or higher selling for tens, hundreds, or even more depending on eye appeal and population rarity. Because top-grade modern coins often become condition rarities rather than true low-mintage rarities. And that same story applies to the 1970-90 penny, where circulated examples are common, but sharply struck, lustrous, spot-free red gems are harder to locate than most people think, especially considering how many were mishandled in bags and rolls. Now let us reveal the proof coin mystery. The 1979S Lincoln cent was made for collectors, not circulation, struck with mirror-like fields and frosted devices when preserved properly, and sold in annual proof sets. These proof coins are common in original sets, but can still carry value when graded ultra-high with cameo or deep cameo contrast, and pristine PR69 or PR70 examples can attract collectors willing to pay significant premiums for perfection, because modern proof perfection is surprisingly hard to achieve. One tiny haze spot or hairline can ruin a top grade, but now we arrive at the section that creates the most excitement on YouTube, the errors and varieties, because this is where a penny worth 1 cent can suddenly become worth hundreds or even thousands under the right circumstances. And the 1979 Lincoln cent is known for several collectible mint errors, including off-center strikes where the blank planchette failed to align properly during striking, creating dramatic missing design portions while retaining a visible date. These are highly popular because they are instantly visible and no microscope is needed, with values depending on percentage, off-center, and overall eye appeal. Then there are broad strikes created when the retaining collar failed, allowing the coin to expand outward without a rim, producing a strange stretched look that collectors love. Next come clipped planchettes, where part of the blank was missing before striking, leaving crescent-shaped clips, another favorite among error hunters. Then we have die cracks and cut errors, caused by broken dies, transferring raised lines or blobs onto the coin surface. And while minor cracks may be inexpensive, dramatic cuts can bring substantial premiums, especially on Lincoln cents where collectors eagerly chase unusual die states. Another category is double die varieties, where design elements appear doubled from hubbing issues during die creation. And while 1979 is not as famous as legendary double die years, like 1955 or 1972, there are minor double die listings and machine doubling examples that still attract specialists. So careful examination of lettering, date digits, and mint marks can be rewarding, though true doubled dies are far more desirable than flat shelf-like machine doubling. Then we must discuss wrong planchette possibilities, the rare nightmare of the mint where a cent design is struck on a foreign or incorrect metal blank. These dramatic mistakes are rare across all years. But if a genuine 1979 cent were found struck on a dime planch, foreign blank, or another improper stock, it could become a headline auction piece worth major money depending on certification and authenticity. Because wrong planchette errors combine mystery, rarity, and visual shock, exactly what collectors crave. And speaking of certification, if you believe you have an unusual 1979 penny, professional grading from respected services such as PCGs or NGC can be crucial, because authentication separates real treasure from damaged pocket change, and certified holders help buyers trust condition and originality, especially when bidding online or at major auctions. Now let us explore auction history, because many viewers love hearing real numbers. Common circulated 1979 pennies rarely appear individually in headline auctions because supply is enormous, but elite registry-grade coins, dramatic errors, or rare varieties absolutely do. And examples graded MS67 red or finer have sold for impressive amounts compared with face value, while spectacular off-center strikes or wrong planchette errors can bring several $100s to several thousand depending on rarity and demand, proving again that in numismatics tiny differences create giant price gaps. Imagine two pennies from the same year, one worth 1 cent and another worth hundreds, simply because one was preserved perfectly or struck incorrectly. That is the thrill of coin collecting. Now let us talk about color designations, because Lincoln cent collectors know color can change everything. Copperloy cents are often labeled brown, red-brown, or red, with red coins retaining most original mint color and therefore commanding the strongest premiums in mint state grades. Brown examples may still be collectible but usually sell for less. So a 1979 penny tucked away untouched in an old roll with fresh red surfaces may be worth far more than a dark coin from circulation. And this surprises many beginners who focus only on date and mint mark while ignoring surfaces and luster. Another hidden factor is strike quality. Not all 1979 pennies were struck equally. Some show weak details on Lincoln's hair or the memorial columns, while better struck examples with crisp definitions stand out to specialists, especially in top grades where every tiny detail matters. Then there is spotting, fingerprints, carbon flecks, and environmental damage, the silent killers of value, because even an uncirculated coin can lose premium potential if stained or corroded. which is why proper storage in dry inert holders matters greatly. Never clean coins, because harsh cleaning often destroys natural surfaces and can reduce value dramatically. Many people ruin collectible cents trying to make them shiny, only to discover collectors prefer originality over brightness. Now consider roll searching, one of the most exciting low-cost ways to hunt 1979 Lincoln pennies, where collectors obtain bankrolls and search for red uncirculated coins, errors, varieties, or high-grade examples.